Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ham Radio Basics Live, Season 4, Episode 17, Ham Radio News and Updates for 4/29/2026. It is the last episode for April this year. I hope everybody's doing well, having a good week. I am. I'm having a good week as well. The Top 10 series continues today because I've been getting just an incredible amount of positive feedback. Really good stuff on this. So we're going to continue it today here, and let's see who we have in. I think we saw Andy's here. Welcome, Andy Cooley. Welcome. If you're joining us via X on Twitter, you can click the link in the pinned comment, which is a link to YouTube, and you'd be happy to join us in the chat. We would love to have you on here. And thank you for all who are watching for the first time. As you know, the mission of Ham Radio Basics, just real briefly, just to let for new people to know. Hey, Sergeant Rock, welcome. Good to see you. I kind of thought you were a ham. Yeah, that's awesome. I think you may have told me that before as well, but great to see you. Thanks for stopping by today. The mission of Ham Radio Basics is we want to make ham radio fun, and we want to make it as uncomplicated and as simple as possible. So that's our goal here on the channel, is we want to pass along tips to you to get you on the air as quickly as possible and have fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. And you're going to get that here, and that's something I think I've kept up with a mission on that, and it's really kind of thank you, Sergeant Rock. I appreciate that. That's awesome. And again, thanks for stopping by today. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 antennas for HTs. We've kind of had some focus on HTs for a while, and I wanted to spend some time with HTs in particular, because it's a most affordable commodity especially for new hams, or if you're on a tight budget. And what I wanted to do today was, and this is something early on, I think it was after I passed my technician exam, and I went to take it. It was out of town, probably about 20 miles south of here, in one of the older hams, probably in Elmer there. He said, he congratulated me, he shook my hand, and he said, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you, he said, you can spend quite a bit of money on a receiver or a handheld, but if you spend, pennies on an antenna, that's what you're going to get as far as your, you're going to get what you put out of it in terms of what you spend on an antenna. He said, if you can spend as much as you possibly can on an antenna and maybe get a downgraded receiver, because it will make all the difference in the world. And that's something I've followed since day one, and he's been right. It's really been very useful for me. I went out and I got my Chameleon MPass 2.0 set up, and that's worked really well for me, because as you guys know, I have to do portable setup every time I play radio. So, and it's very a real pain in the ass, but I'm going to be working on that when I retire here. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and jump into this here. And and the nice thing about all of these options here, as far as looking at cost, a lot of these are well under like $30, which is fantastic here. And it's top 10 antennas for ham radio HTs. For most ham radio HTs, the sweet spot is still a dual band, 2 meter, 70 centimeter whip, around 15 to 16 inches long. Stubby antennas are convenient, but usually give up notable range, and they do. Also, double check the connector, SMA male, SMA female, reverse SMA or BNC, depending on your radio. And it says, I'm going to include notes on, we're going to go over which one is the use case for each one. Okay. And it depends a lot if you want range, if you want portability, if it's going to be emergency use. So we're just going to kind of dive right into it here. Now, the first one here is a Diamond SRH 77A, and I do have two of these here. And it really is. It's probably one of the premier antennas here as far as wanting one that's going to work well. And it really is. I mean, it's one of the safest buy once HT antenna choices. It's a 15-inch dual band, 144, 440, and diamond list extended receive coverage plus 10-watt power rating. I mean, it's something that you absolutely cannot go wrong with. And I do have links in the description if you're interested in purchasing them. They're from Gigaparts, Amazon mostly, but some and Bridge Comet as well too. But this is a good antenna. It's a good choice. It's solid. It's reliable. I've used it for years, and it works really, really well. Now, signal stick, and it's kind of like indestructible is probably the best thing behind that is it's called Signal Stuff Super Elastic Signal Stick. Durability, field use, and go bags. Yeah. Excellent if you want something that survives abuse. Signal Stuff describes them as ultra lightweight, nearly indestructible, and designed to outperform stock antennas. And they do. That statement is 100% true. It is 100% better than the stock antenna that is in there. I mean, I would say for your go bag, this is probably an excellent choice because you can bend them in there. They're not going to break. They'll fit in there, whatever kind of size go bag you have. And then when you need to use them, they'll pop out and they're great. I don't think, and my personal experience, just to let you know, it's not going to be good as say the Diamond or Nagoyas and other ones we're going to talk about here in a minute. I just think for me personally, they're a good choice for a go bag. And that's how I would recommend a signal stick. And again, and to be able to purchase them, I put the link for their website. They don't have a listing out on Amazon. Oh wow, okay. But they have an Ken with D70. Oh wow, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. There are D-Star repeaters here in Florida. So yeah, that's awesome. And that is a great HT, my friend. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Okay. All right. The next one is a Comet SMA 24J. And it's really just one of these. It's just another solid, reliable choice. I have one. It's been really good. It's a flexible premium whip. Great alternative to the Diamond. Comet listed as a dual band, 2 meter, 70 centimeter super flex antenna, 15.75 inches long, 20 watts max. That's nice. That's nice to be able to have it with a 2.15 dBi on 2 meters and 3.5 dBi on 70 centimeters. So, it's one of these ones. It's kind of a sweet spot. I would say between the first one by Diamond and the signal stick, it's kind of a sweet spot here. I have one. It works well. It's not my one of choice, but it's probably I would call it a secondary antenna for me. And the nice thing and the super nice thing about these HT antennas, they're all affordable. Most of them are under $30. So I have most of these, to be honest with you, because there's different use case scenarios for them, and is stated in here. So let's go ahead and we're gonna move on to the next one here. Nagoya NA771, best budget upgrade, a very popular 15.6-inch antenna. Good bang for buck, especially on Baofeng, TID radio, Radtel, Quashang, Radio Oddity, etc. Buy from a trusted seller because counterfeits are common. And that's a very important thing that ChatGPT threw in there. And they're right. Counterfeits are common. You have to be very careful. I always have gotten mine either like from DX Engineering, Gigaparts, Ham Radio Outlet, or Amazon. They're the only ones that I really trust. I would not get this kind of an antenna off of AliExpress because AliExpress is pretty good most of the time, but some of the sellers that they have out there, they can be kind of sketchy at times. And I found that out trying to order some thumb drives that were really pieces of garbage that I had to send back to them. But yeah, you be real careful when you're purchasing it. go to one of the big three. Go to Amazon as well. Those are the ones that I would trust to get something like this. Um, Obviously, it's a good antenna and it works well. It's not my number one antenna, but it's in my list. And again, like I said, the beautiful thing about these antennas is you don't. I mean, you can get all of them if you want. You're not going to break the bank, and it's fantastic to be able to do it. And one may work better on one day versus another day, depending upon if you're in your whether you're in closer proximity to a repeater or not. Whether you're losing battery or not. That all kind of factors come in on this here. Now, here's a really good antenna, and it's the PowerWerx WXGAT everyday dual band use, solid high gain option, especially if you're buying from PowerWerx or using Ocean and Anytone style radios. Available in standard SMA and reverse SMA versions, and it's a very solid, dependable antenna. It works really, really well, and they pair up real nice with Ocean radios. Now, Better Safe Radio sells those as well too. So you can look at PowerWerx or Better Safe Radio. I think Better Safe Radio would probably have a better price on them and on the radios too. And as far as an HT is concerned, I know I really haven't talked a lot about Ocean, and I know that's how it's pronounced. That's how I was told it was pronounced. So that's how I pronounce it. But that's a really good radio. Better Safe Radio has them. I know Jason from Hammer 2.0 has some coupon codes for those. So if that's the kind of radio you're interested in, it does a great job. And I believe he has these PowerWerx WXGAT antennas out there too. So that's something that you could definitely consider as far as that's concerned. All right. The Diamond RH77CA and RH707 BNC versions. Radios or adapters using BNC, and it really is good if you prefer BNC Quick Connect. BNC is handy if you swap antennas often or use adapters between several HTs. And it's right, and that's very true. That works very well. This is another solid, dependable antenna. It's not going to break the bank. It works well. I found this one works pretty well in just about any scenario for me. Okay, I've used them before, and I've been really pleased on the reception that I've got. Even though sometimes I was actually fairly significantly away from a repeater, and I was still able to pick it up well with this antenna. So I was really pleased with this. It did a great job. So this is something, again, that you can definitely put in your bag. It would be something that I would definitely recommend here. Then we're going to move on to number 7. The Comet SMA 503, SMA 503J, shorter premium antenna. A good compromise when a 15-inch whip feels too tall, but you still want better performance than the factory rubber duck. And that's another very true statement. ChatGPT did real well with these analysis here. It's not as big as a 15-inch, and a lot of times you can't do something like that. Something like this kind of an antenna would be, say, if you're going to an amusement park or you're going to be out on a picnic for the day, and you didn't want to have a 15-inch antenna sticking off of your belt and maybe hitting you in your eye or something along those lines. It's not practical to have a 15-inch all the time, but to have something like this works, and it really works well. That's something as well too. But just keep in mind, the connectors that you have on the antennas as well too. That's something that you need to be mindful of with these antennas, especially when you're ordering them, that it's going to work with your antenna, that you have the right connector here. So we're going to go ahead and move on here to number 8, Smiley 270A Smiley stick antennas. Now, to be honest with you, I've never heard of Smiley before, but it has custom connector choices. Smiley antennas are well liked by many hams and often available in several connector and band options. Good choice if you want something more specialized. And they did. I went out to their website. They have a whole host of different HT antennas that you can get. They are with different connections. You can have, I probably have them on hand, but you can kind of custom order the one that you want. I dropped a link in the description to go out there. They have great prices. It's something that I would suggest checking out. I don't have them because all the ones that I purchased have been at the big 3 or on Amazon, and they're not on either Amazon or the big three. So you have to purchase them directly from their website. But from everything I've heard, they work really well and they look like they're very solid and well built. So let's go ahead and move on to number 9 here. Retevis HA02 39-inch foldable whip. Okay. An emergency field range. Long and awkward, but for emergency or field work, it can outperform small rubber ducks because it simply has more antenna. Not something I'd keep on the radio all day. And that's very true. This is really good for emergency comms. If you work Aries or you have a hurricane or a disaster coming by, this is going to punch through a lot of stuff. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it gets the job done. And I think this is something you should definitely keep in your shack or have it in your go bag. I mean, if you have a big enough go bag or in your vehicle with you, because it will come in handy in an emergency. It'll punch through when a lot of other antennas won't. And I do know that. And I don't have one, but this is on my list of antennas to get. And I think I should probably have one because it does cut through in an emergency. And after all, that's what we want. We want our HTs, especially to work in emergencies, and especially living here in the state of Florida. We're often faced with severe weather like hurricanes, and we need to be prepared, and we need to be mindful of what we have in being able to communicate. So that is something that would definitely come in handy, and I would definitely recommend that. Now we have the Nagoya NA701 or Comet CH32 stubby, and it's a compact carry. Better for convenience than maximum range. Fine for strong local repeaters, but not my first choice for weak signal or emergency use. And again, this fits along the lines with that other antenna that we just discussed. It's shorter, it's more compact, it works well. Okay, you're going to get, I think, I like Signal Stick, but I think that's probably going to be bottom on my list just because I think a lot of these other antennas really outperform Signal Stick. I found that to be my experience, and I have this works well, and especially if you're closer to a repeater. I'm fairly close where I live to a repeater. It's not with the Ham Radio Club that I'm a part of, but I can pick that up. And in fact, I did a check-in on a net with this on my FT5DR, and I had no problem. And it's about 3 miles from me. So it worked really well. And this is, of course, this is after a hurricane's gone through, and there's still a lot of disturbance and atmospheric disturbance and everything. So I was really impressed with that. I thought it worked really, really well. John, welcome. Thank you for stopping by today. Here's some quick winners as far as ratings on these antennas. The best overall, the Diamond SRH 77CA, SRJ 77CA. You really can't go wrong with them. Okay. And I agree. And the second one, best nearly indestructible antenna, is a Signal Stick. It really is. It's something, I mean, you could pretty much do anything to it, and it's not going to break. It's going to last you. And I think it's rugged. It's dependable. It's something that you want to have in your go bag. It absolutely works. Best flexible premium whip is the Comet SMA24, SMA24J. I have that, and it does work. It works really, really well. That's something, again, I would have in your go bag or your shack. Best budget antenna, the Nagoya NA771. It is. I wouldn't even call it a budget antenna. I mean, it really, it works. It works really well. And because, as I've said to just about anybody, everything is better than the stock antennas that come with your HTs when you get them. Anything, okay? Best emergency go bag long antenna, obviously the Retevis HA02 or Signal Stick. I'm going to say the Retevis. I'm going to lean towards that. The Signal Stick is good. It's good because it's indestructible, but I don't think I would say go bag. Okay. For a go bag, a Signal Stick, yeah, I agree as far as that's concerned. So that's where I would end up putting that. Best compact antenna, Nagoya NA701, I would agree, or Comet CH32. Yes, that is correct. Okay. They work well. They work very well. I mean, I've tested that one. I live, like I said, about 2-3 miles away from a repeater, and I hit it without any problems. Absolutely hit it. Was able to check into a net the night after the hurricane I was letting people, had a local net around here to check on communities, and I let them know that everything I know of our community was okay here. And the best BNC setup, the Diamond RH77CA, RH707 with BNC, and that is true. That's very true. One of the other tips that I wanted to pass on to all you guys is I have a bunch, and you can go out to Amazon, and several sellers have this out there, several different type of connectors, and I have a couple bags of them just to have on hand. I think it's great because a lot of times you don't know with some of these radios that you get, like I have several Radtels, I have the FD5DR, I have some TID radios as well too. You don't know what you're going to get when you get it, and I think it's good to have these options and to have them on hand, especially things break, that kind of thing, and it really makes a difference to have that, and you don't have to oh, I got this radio, this antenna is not going to work, I need to go order something from Amazon when you already have it. I mean, that's how I would recommend that as well too. Here now, the main 5 antennas: the Diamond SRH77CA, SRJ77CA, Signal Stick, Comet SMA24, Nagoya NA771, and PowerWerx WXGAT. With the PowerWerx WXGAT, that's really kind of more. I think it's really kind of geared for the ocean radios. Myself, just personally speaking, that's kind of just my take on it. That's kind of where I'm from. The Signal Stick is perfect for your go bag because you can get it as compact as you want, and it gets right back into shape, and it's ready to go. That's a nice feature on that. Like I said, this whole list right here that we went over, as far as antennas were concerned, you won't do bad with any of those. I mean, they really do a great job. And just remember, the longer these antennas are, the better it's going to be, the better range you're going to get out of it. And as I tell new hams, especially as well, I said, you have to understand something with HT radios. It's really line of sight. It's really, if you're in a heavily urban congested area, you're not going to have good reception versus getting out into the suburbs where you're probably going to have a whole lot better reception, and you're going to have better distances as far as that's concerned. Because I know I've heard some hams that are really frustrated, new ones, trying to hook up with a repeater, and I asked them where you live, and they told me, and I said, that's probably not going to be, you probably want to get a pretty long antenna. Now they do make longer antennas, okay, and I think what we're going to do is one of these weeks, I'll go through a top 10 of longer antennas, ones that aren't short, ones that you probably can't put in your go bag, but maybe you can put a strap on your go bag to take it with you, or leave it in your vehicle as well. So that's it for today on the top 10 antennas for HTs. And again, I want to thank you guys. Seriously, these videos have really just been very well received. I'm real thankful that you guys have been enjoying them. Keep that up. Spread the news about us. Let others know about Ham Radio Basics. We're here because we want to help you guys make your ham radio experience a whole lot of fun, which is what it should be. I never have looked at ham radio's work. I look at it as fun, and making contacts is just absolutely awesome. So hope you guys have a great week. And as always, guys, remember, it's a great day to make a QSO. 7 3s, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.